I'm loving being in a space to where I'm enjoying creating this kind of content.
Okay.
Where I'm enjoying creating content about our marriage, about us growing personally, us growing together, us showing parts of ourselves that most people wouldn't even be okay with exposing that part to them. You know what I'm saying? And like all the lessons we've learned over the years we've been together. And then it coming up on our 11th anniversary, it's just like, I'm enjoying the process of all of this. When in the beginning, I was very like hesitant. So yeah, I think like that's kind of where my mind is, like the excitement of creating in this way with you.
Honestly, I think that is a very good point. Like right now, since we've started creating recently, it's felt way more fulfilling and natural because, I mean, even when we first started the whole process, of starting our show and creating content and stuff, it was all about us. And now, it pretty much is. But it's through the frame of how can we do what we normally do, but do it in a way to where it's able to serve people.
Yes.
And give them perspective and a peek into what our world is like. And like a post I had put up a while ago, I was like, everything that we share is all about us. It's about the lessons that we've learned. It's about how we've been able to take our perspective around what we've dealt with in life and be able to frame it in a positive way and be able to give it back to people, hoping that it gives them some level of value.
Yes.
And I love the fact that we're bold enough to do something like that, especially knowing that marriage is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're so solid in what we have. We're able to share what we do, get the criticism, get the positive, love and feedback and stuff like that as well, and continue to be us and do what we do regardless of all of that. And so I'm loving that because we really do get to share the real, we get to share how we actually think, how we feel, and just be able to continue to grow and improve when it comes to sharing the things that we experience and how we think and feel about marriage.
I know something I was telling you while we were doing our walk earlier is that even when I first started making content about being a wife, I was very like hesitant about it because I'm like, I don't know how to explain what I do like as your wife. I don't know how to explain it because it's so natural for me and it's so robotic at this point. Like I don't think about what I'm doing. So now I'm having to really be like, okay, in the moment, it's like, okay, what am I doing as his wife to show him that I love him, that I support him, that I care for him, all of these things. So I'm like, now I have my journal where I'm like writing down stuff in the moment. Cause I'm like, to me, it's like, duh, you supposed to do this. Like, and that's like, no, honestly, like to me, it's just like, duh, like, of course I'm going to do this. Of course I'm gonna help you. Like, of course I'm going to show up for you. Like, it's just, duh. But to other people, sometimes it doesn't come so natural because with us, like we grew up together. So a lot of people, they didn't have our background together. We've been together pretty much since we were 18, our whole adult lives.
Right.
Most people are meeting each other in their 20s and 30s. You done lived a lot of life already. You know what I'm saying?
You got a lot going on.
So you got a lot going on. So you're learning how to really intertwine your lives together. For me and you, we was just starting our life anyway.
And we grew into life and adulthood together.
Yeah. So like some things, it is more natural for me because we grew up together. So now having to dial it back and be like, okay, Adoria, what are you doing in this moment to be a wife? How are you showing up for your husband right now? How are you showing him that you love him and all this stuff in this moment right now? And I'm having to take notes about myself because I don't think about it anymore. I just do, So that's been interesting to actually kind of like watch myself, pay more attention to myself as to how I am your wife.
Yeah.
And in that is like seeing myself as your wife. Cause me, I'm just like, oh, I'm Adoria, this regular shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like, no, like I show the fuck up for my husband. Like I love my husband. And when I'm writing down all the stuff that I'm doing for him, I'm like, oh, you don't play about your man. You do not play about your husband, And I think that's so dope to see myself. It's one thing for my husband to tell me, shut up. It's one thing for my husband to tell me that I'm a dope wife.
Absolutely.
But when I'm reflecting on myself and on my actions towards you, it's like, no, Adoria, you really are a dope wife. So me telling myself that now, me seeing that in myself now is totally different. And I think it's actually been transformational for me.
Because now it raises your identity of how you feel and see yourself.
Yes.
And that is a gift.
Absolutely.
And it allows you to be able to do what you do at an even higher level, knowing how much value you bring into my life and our marriage as a whole.
Yes.
And so that's actually the conversation I wanted to revisit, because I know we talked about it quite a bit on our walk today when we first started. But that has been such a joy for me right now, like actually being in a space to where we're not just being married, but we're being more intentional about our marriage and reflecting on how we do our marriage, how we show up in our marriage, how we show up for each other, how we're being individually, how we're being for each other, like all of those different areas, right?
Yeah.
Because inside of the goal of us growing closer together and communicating better and all of that stuff, there's also this element of it as well, where we want to be able to serve and teach people and share our insights and things like that. But we're also learning how to be able to teach people based off of our experiences in a way that they can receive it. Because even though we share our insights and feedback from our marriage, it's one thing to just sit up here and just give people information because we believe that we right and we just got it all figured out, rather than actually observing what we've actually done in our marriage, how we've experienced certain things, how we grew to understand certain things, and then getting ourselves in a position to be able to teach it and share it. Because like I mentioned earlier, it's one thing to be able to do something robotically and unconsciously and just be able to operate in that way. But it's another thing to be intentional about observing the process and then being able to teach it and share that and instill it in somebody else. And that's a whole nother skill set. So you have people who have been married 20, 30, 40 years, and they just do things robotically, but they are completely unconscious of how they're being, or how they got to the point of being the type of wife that they are, or husband that they are, and all of those things. And now we're having to pay attention to ourselves in such a deep way, even down to some of the ugly stuff that we have to work on, and seeing how do we work on those things? How have we put ourselves in a position to be able to grow through those things together? How do we share that stuff? How do we approach those topics with each other? We're having to pay attention so closely because we got to grow through that stuff in the now. And we also want to be able to share it in a way to where people can receive it and learn from it based off of our experiences. And that's a skill. And we on that whole journey like now. And this is dope. This is a dope space to be in.
Yeah, I love it. The way that I'm able to view our marriage now is like I had an appreciation for it before, but like now that I'm really looking at it in more like detail, like I'm really like analyzing like what the whys and the how of everything we're doing. I'm like, our marriage is dope as fuck. Like I knew that before, but now I'm like, oh my God, like it really is dope. Like, and we're really not playing about this thing. Like I've never been so serious about something ever in my life.
Yeah, it's like now, it's like we're paying closer to our marriage now than we ever have before. Like I'm so much more aware these days of how I'm being as a husband. I'm paying so much more close attention to the things that you do as a wife and how intentional you are about making sure that I don't have to think about certain things, or how you love me and care for me. Even when it comes down to when we're just chilling and relaxing and I look over at you and I'll say certain things, I'm like, I want my wife to feel special and valued, like in this moment for no reason. Other than that. And I'm like, because those little moments, surprise moments, like they mean something.
And then I'd be like, hey, what made you say that?
And I'm like, I just wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to for no reason at all. Like, I'm like, damn, girl, you fine. Like, I like you. Like, man, you're such an amazing, like, for real. Like, these days, the more that I've had the opportunity to, like, these days, the more that I've slowed down to really pay attention to how I am as a husband and how you are as a wife and the way that we do our marriage, it makes me that much more intentional and aware when it comes to me wanting to do more random things to just show my love and my affection and to try to be better than what I have been before. It just gives me something to work on. It's like I don't think I've been a bad husband. I think I've been pretty all right for the most part.
You've been more than all right, babe. Stop. Don't do that.
But I'm also working to see how I can be better.
Yeah.
Like you've told me things, about how you want me to be more romantic with you, how you want me to be able to give you more, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't even finna sit over here and try to list it all out. But you've told me areas that I can improve in, as a husband before. But it's always been something that I've taken to heart and worked on. But now it gives me that much more of a drive to work on those things even harder and to look deeper in myself to see things that maybe you don't even notice, but I know to be true that I want to work on as well. Yeah. Because the goal is to be super husband. Period. Like the goal is to be super husband in all the ways that I can. And I know that there's things that I can work on for me personally that if I get better in those things for me, then they'll ultimately show up in our marriage the same way.
I think what's dope in that is knowing that like as I change on the individual level, my needs also change. And us being able to communicate those needs, because it's the same for you too. As you change individually, your needs change too. So for us to be able to have those conversations, no matter like how uncomfortable or comfortable they are, it's just like, okay, this is what I need right now in this season. And then you decide whether you're willing to adjust or not. Usually you are, because you care about me. And I think it's dope to have those conversations because I think a lot of people don't realize how much they change over time. And if you're not having that conversation with your spouse, again, they might look up and see you as a totally different person because you are. Yeah. And then you're confused about, okay, well, you're not responding like this anymore to that. Well, I don't need that anymore. Yeah. I need something else. You know what I'm saying? But being able to see that in myself, okay, my needs are changing. I need to communicate with my husband. Even if I don't know exactly what these needs are, at least open up the conversation so we can have the dialogue about, okay, I'm changing in this way. Maybe you and me can figure it out together. Right. Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
Yeah, because I feel like we've had so many conversations like that where I'm like, babe, something is missing for me. I don't know exactly what it is, but let's talk about it. Like nothing is wrong or bad or anything like that. So let me go ahead and say that because, people be peopling. Yeah. But nothing is wrong or bad. It's just like I need something in this season and I can't pinpoint it yet. So let's talk about it. Let's deep dive on what this looks like for me and for you.
Because even as you say that, I feel like we've made those transitions so much easier in recent times. Yeah. Because we're more aware of the fact that our needs do change. The more that we grow, the more that we start working on ourselves, the more that we start really seeing ourselves in different light, the more we get introduced to situations that we haven't had to deal with before. Facts. We start realizing that in the process of us growing through those things, that sometimes our needs change, our perspectives change, and we bring those things to each other and then we adjust. Right. So anytime you start telling me that you need something that maybe I'm not doing, or you need me to start doing something differently, I don't take offense to that because, you change. And a lot of the times when you have these realizations, or I have them, we talk about those things in the moment.
In the moment, yes.
Yeah. And so what we'll do is we'll reflect on those things, maybe a day or two or a few hours go by, whatever the case may be. And then it's like, hey, you know what? We talked about this. And I need something different now. Like, I think we should start doing this, or we should stop doing something, or whatever the case may be. And like making that adjustment is no problem because there's context now. Right. It didn't just come from nowhere. Right. Because we were already having the conversations and seeing that things were changing in our lives. So when you say, babe, you need something different from me, and I'm like, all right, cool. I got you. We can do that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. And so we've done that seamlessly for so long. And now it's so interesting because, again, we're paying so much more attention to these small things. And so...
Because it's really the small things that make the whole difference.
Absolutely.
It's those little conversations we have, or those things that we notice about ourselves, about each other, that it seems really, really small. But if it goes ignored, it becomes a big issue. Right. So it's like, okay, something we definitely do in our marriage is like, we want to avoid issues. if we can nip this in the bud before it becomes a problem, we will do that.
Yeah.
We rather have the uncomfortable conversation. We rather do the hard thing. We rather read the book. We rather start the podcast so we can get better at communicating. We rather do those things than get to a point of the fuck up. And then now it's like, well, now you gotta rebuild trust. Now you gotta work on better at communication. Now you gotta go to therapy because shit went wrong. No. Like, what can we do as a preventive measure?
Proactive.
Let's be proactive and preventive in our marriage so we don't run into the dumb shit that other people run into. Because I don't want to deal with that stuff.
Nobody
wants to deal with that stuff. So what can we do in the now? So let's have these conversations. Let's pay attention to the small details now, so we can avoid the craziness.
And so even in that, that's how we've done for so long, to the point to where we make those transitions so easily, and we're able to have those conversations so easily. And I know, like, I've had so many people before, ask me, like, how do you bring certain stuff up to your wife, or how do you make certain statements without coming across a certain type of way? All of those little things. But that goes to show that a lot of the times people just hold on to stuff, and then it becomes this big burden that they're carrying that they don't know how to address certain situations with.
Right.
And so with us, when we start to feel something, the conversations are starting.
Yes.
Because for one, we check in daily, every single, like, something ain't right, or I've been thinking about this. All right, let's talk it out. So we don't get caught by surprise when things are happening in each other's lives individually.
Yes.
You brought me in when the feeling came up.
Exactly.
Or when the moment happened. Like, we don't hold on to stuff. So when we have the first initial feeling, we bring it to each other and we talk about it. All right, we probably won't get clarity on it right out the way, right out the gate, but then we have another conversation and now we're more clear on it. Sometimes we get to the bottom of it immediately and know what's going on. All right, now when we get into that point where we got to take some new action, or you tell me that you need something differently from me, or vice versa, we're taking these progressive steps in the present moment. Nothing gets set on the back burner. There's no emotional buildup. There's no confusion. Even when we had those moments where we're not all the way clear, we talk through our thoughts, even if it come out crazy or sounding stupid. Like, at least we're there in the moment with each other to try to help sort through the thoughts.
Listen, one thing I do not care about is sounding stupid or looking stupid in front of my husband. You're the only person I care. Like, I'm okay with that. I feel safe in that. I feel safe with being able to express my raw emotions, me sounding dumb. Like, babe, I had this thought, like, it might sound crazy, but hear me out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm okay. You're my safe space.
Yes, I want to be your safe space. So I want to be your safe space.
You are. So I
want to create that for you.
Shut up. I'm done. Inside joke people don't even know about. But I'm okay with looking stupid in front of you, because it's important for me to understand me, right? And it's important for you to understand me too. And sometimes in that means dissecting feelings that are probably, you know how people think feelings are facts and it's not? Like, dissecting feelings that they may feel true for me in this moment, but it's not real. Like, it's like, I feel this type of way, but no, like, we can nip this in the bud real quick. Or understanding thoughts that I'm having that actually aren't in alignment with who we say we want to be. So let's talk about this stuff. So we're saying stupid, but it's not actually really stupid. It's like, it just may sound crazy in the moment. But us going through the conversations and just letting each other in on that is a big deal. You know, and I feel like we both understand that, like, if you think it sounds stupid, I still want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care how dumb it may sound to you in your head. I want to hear it because I care about you. And there's no me, like, judging you or thinking that you dumb or no. I feel I'm honored to hear this. Yeah. I'm glad that you feel safe enough to express your rawest, truest emotions and thoughts with me.
Let me tell you this. I have no desire to look strong to you or to look smart or to look like I have everything figured out. My goal is to be honest with you, to be transparent with you, and to create the opportunity for myself to open up to you and for you to be able to help me. And then when I'm in situations to where I can provide something when it comes to either fixing a problem or providing a solution or trying to teach you something or whatever the case may be, I'm not doing that with the thought of I'm trying to make you perceive me a certain type of way. The only goal is to be honest. If I have an answer for whatever we're trying to solve, I can give that to you if that's necessary in that moment.
Right.
If there's a moment where it's required of me to be strong, so to say, I'll just be that. But I'm not trying to find opportunities to make myself seem a certain type of way because I think that's necessary to make you feel something about me. I'm just being who I need to be in that moment, or you in those opportunities, like you're just being who you need to be in that moment. So we're not pretending.
Right.
We're not putting on a show. So if I say something that sounds stupid, I'm okay with it sounding stupid because I'm trying to figure it out in front of you. And that gives you the opportunity to be able to help me unjumble my thoughts and my words or whatever. I don't need to pretend to be something in front of you or try to make you see me a certain type of way. I can just be me.
Yes.
And then when the opportunity comes for me to do all of the other things or to be all of the other things, I can just be that. But I'm not actively trying to be that because trying to be that means that I'm thinking more about how you see me rather than just being who I need to be.
Come on, babe. You better.
You know what I'm saying?
Better.
And I say that because so many people spend so much time trying to perform for people in their lives because they want somebody to think something about them so badly. If there's an opportunity for you to be able to showcase what you know because it's necessary and it helps somebody, I'd be that.
Right.
If you see somebody and they're losing their mind and they're spiraling out of control and you can speak something into them that helps them, just be helpful.
Right.
But you don't have to sit over there and think like, oh, I need to come up with the perfect thing to say and fix this thing so that way they can think I'm Superman. Or the freaking sink broke and I need my wife to think that I'm handy or whatever. So I need to figure out like how to fix it. You could call somebody or, you could freaking YouTube that thing and figure it out. And if you can't, again, there's always the option to call. And I'm being silly, man. But the point is, there's no need to pretend. When we talk about being a safe space or whatever the case may be, or however people like to perceive that, that happens in all of the small moments that happen over time. And that's where people really end up messing up their ideals of what they think these things should be. Or trying to create those things in a moment rather than realizing that it's all of the small moments that lead up to that. So the reason that you're able to be your full self and to be able to express your extreme emotions and not mind sounding dumb or me not sounding like the most smartest or whatever the case may be, the reason we're able to have these, what other people would think would be awkward moments or moments where we seem intense and all of this other crap is because of all of the small interactions we've had over time. It's because of the trust that we've built between each other over time. It's because of all of the love and the way that we've cared for each other, supported each other, really sought, trying to understand all of these things before that create the safe space to be our fullest selves, even when it comes out a little bit reckless and it can be a little bit confusing. We're there to show each other through those moments because of all of the little things that compounded over time.
Absolutely.
And that is like the bread and butter of it all. It's not one big moment.
Right.
It's all the times that I've shown you how much I love you.
Yes.
And showed you how much I care about what you're thinking and what you're going through. And this way that you've done those same things for me.
Right.
So yeah, man, I love that we have that.
Me too.
And what people need to understand is that you got to be in this thing 100% all the time. All the time. Because it may not seem like a big deal today, but as the time compounds, the days count up. It matters.
Yeah.
You show me that.
You show me that too, baby.
I know it, man. Like I just know that it ain't got to be this complicated for so many other people out there.
Right. Yeah, I'm always confused as to why it seems so complicated, but you know, sometimes people are just complicated
because you just do this at this point.
Yeah.
And now we're having to pay more attention to the things. Like, yeah, you naturally do super wife.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
My super wife. And I love all of that for me.
I know
every last bit.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do. You're crazy.
I love you.
I love you too.
So anyway, I hope y'all got something out of this, man. It's always a pleasure to be able to sit down and have these conversations with somebody I love so much. But for real though, we really hope you guys got some genuine value out of this. And until next time, family, my name is John Trone. This is my beautiful queen,
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. And until next time, family, peace and love.